For most people, the steam locomotive is something to be read about in history books, or perhaps seen in a park or museum. To see one running is not something one expects in this day and age. Remarkably, though, there are a few places where one can still see steam running, and in this program, we'll visit 2 such places where visitors can step back in time and see ghosts of a bygone age. It's just before dawn on May 20th, 2010, and we're in Heber, Utah, where locomotive number 618 steams quietly at the Heber Valley Railroad. The Heber Valley Line earns its living carrying tourists on a scenic route along Utah's Deer Creek Reservoir, usually with diesel locomotives. The railroad does operate 2 steam locomotives, though, and for a couple of days, number 618 will be pulling a freight train just for photographers, recreating scenes from days gone by. 618 was built in 1907 for the Oregon Short Line Railroad, a subsidiary of the Union Pacific. She has a 280 wheel arrangement, examples of which were found running all over the Union Pacific. She was numbered 1068 until the OSL was absorbed by the UP and was eventually numbered 618. The 618's federal boiler certification would expire within a couple of weeks of these trips, so we won't be seeing her for a few years while she undergoes an overhaul. These are photo charters and as such are not regular service runs. The appearance of the locomotive may change from one scene to the next, as well as different whistles being used, these being subject to what the crews and organizers of the event wanted to accomplish. Also, run-bys were done when the sun was best at each location, not in sequential order along the line. Let's take a quick look at our route. We're in the state of Utah, in the small town of Heber City. Here, the Heber Valley Railroad has a depot and ticket office, repair shop, and a storage yard. From Heber, the line begins heading southwest toward Provo. Much of the railroad is on a line relocation around Deer Creek Reservoir. You can see some of the old alignment heading straight on the map. The Provo River and Snake Creek are a short distance from each other, and we'll see run-bys on both bridges. Much of the railroad is along Deer Creek Reservoir, and we'll see many run-bys on this stretch. This branch line is an old Rio Grande Western route built in 1899 and abandoned in 1968 by successor Denver and Rio Grande Western. The construction of Deer Creek Reservoir in 1938 necessitated part of the railroad be relocated to the alignment we see today. Near Wallsburg Siding is the reservoir's dam, and we'll see many scenes in this area. Beyond the dam, the line drops down through the Provo River Canyon to the small community of Vivian Park, where today's tourist railroad ends. Our train is departing Vivian Park, and we'll see many photo run-bys between here and Heber. Wildwood, we're on the original roadbed. A short distance north, and our next scene, the railroad will be on the 1938 line relocation around the reservoir. We've concluded the first day of our charter. Tomorrow we'll be at it again. Today we'll only go as far south as Wallsburg, not all the way to Vivian Park. As we pass over the Provo River, we'll end our second day of photo run-bys on the Heber Valley. The Heber Valley is well worth a visit, and it doesn't matter if you're participating in a steam photo charter or riding one of the diesel-powered tourist trains. With lovely mountain scenery and a beautiful lake, it should be on your list to ride. We're in the eastern Nevada town of Ely, where we'll visit the Nevada Northern Railroad. The focal point of the railroad is the East Ely Depot. There used to be two towns side by side, Ely and East Ely, the latter springing up due to various political disagreements at the time. Today the towns have combined, but the East Ely Depot remains to remind of the old times. In fact, the entire railroad is a reminder of the old days, having changed very little over the years. The railroad was constructed in 1905 and 1906 between Ely and the connection with the Southern Pacific, some 140 miles north of here. Between 1907 and 1908, the railroad was extended to the south to the mining district near Lane, Keystone, and Ruth, adding another dozen miles or so to the route. Although there was some modernization of the railroad over the years, such as switching from steam to diesel locomotives in the late 1940s, much of the old infrastructure was not removed. Structures such as the old coaling tower, water tank and standpipe, car shop, and more were simply left in place. In 1983, railroad operations ceased, and many miles of track were donated by the Kennecott Copper Company to the White Pines Historical Foundation, which maintains this incredible museum, which includes both historic steam and diesel locomotives, as well as ancient freight and passenger cars that are also veterans of this historic route. The Historical Foundation also runs tourist trains over the line, most often between East Ely and Keystone. Although the tourist trains are invaluable in educating the public about the history of the line, they, well, just don't look the part when compared to the historic structures found along the line. When the railroad assembles one of its photo freights, the illusion is complete, as the Nevada Northern of old comes alive once again. During our visit in May 2010, the railroad featured 2 days of recreated passenger and freight trains. Run for the benefit of the cameras, they really don't go from anywhere to anywhere, but they look neat nonetheless. A visit inside the locomotive shop is truly stepping back in time. Today we find two locomotives under steam, Nevada Northern 280 number 93, as well as the railroad's pet 460 number 40. But here in East Ely, what is not running can be as interesting as what is. Rotary Snowplow B was built by the American Locomotive Company in 1907. Steam locomotive number 81, a 282, built by the Baldwin Locomotive Works in 1917, and Wrecking Crane A, built by the Industrial Works of Bay City, Michigan in 1907. Back to today's trains, number 40 was built by Baldwin in 1910. This 460's primary duties were on passenger trains, and she could often be found pulling trains 3 and 4, often called the Steptoe Valley Flyer, between here and the Southern Pacific's connection some 139 miles away. Number 93 is a 280 built in 1909 by Alco and could be found hauling heavy ore trains on the various Nevada Northern lines. It's time to get to work, and the engine house comes alive at the sights and sounds of two steam locomotives departing. Our first photo special is a recreation of a short passenger train from East Ely to Keystone. This was once a through yard, and southbound trains ran right through downtown Ely. Decades ago, a bypass was built, and southbound trains have to back a short distance out of East Ely to access the line to Keystone. Our train is now southbound on the line to Keystone. We're getting into the mining district at the site of old Lane City. Hundreds of people once lived here. You'd never know it today. We're arriving at the Y at Keystone. Just up the line are the massive ore mines in the town of Ruth. For now, this is as far as the Nevada Northern trains run, the mine trackage being off limits. For our next special, number 93 is backing down to connect with a short freight train that'll be run to Keystone and back for the cameras. Our train has turned around and will now head north back toward East Ely. Our next train will begin on the main line near Highline Junction, which is north of East Ely. Our last photo train will feature Wrecking Crane A and will run along the main line north of town, then head a short distance on the Keystone Line toward the mines. We've completed our brief visit to the Nevada Northern. This living museum is a fascinating place to visit, with its authentic railroad, yard, and trains. If you like steam railroading, it should be high on your list of places to visit. The Nevada Northern and Heber Valley both allow one to step back in time. May they each be around well into the future to give succeeding generations a look back at what once was.